Oh, it is.
Yeah.
I'm happy to go straight into questions today.
What do you think of National's new announcement this morning to have an ombudsman to deal with cyclone recovery? What's your take on that?
I'm absolutely committed to supporting the families and businesses that have been affected by the cyclone. We've been working really constructively with local government in the affected areas to try and make that process operate as seamlessly and as quickly as it can. I think everyone would like to see faster progress. I'm not sure that setting up a new ombudsman is really justified, given that the current ombudsman can actually investigate concerns around those processes now.
Do you feel like you're tapping into a group of people who feel like they've been really left behind by the government? Several ministers in charge, it's been a long time now. Do you acknowledge that?
I acknowledge that in these kind of natural disasters, there will be people who get frustrated by the length of time it takes to resolve issues. We certainly saw that after the Canterbury earthquakes, after the Kaikoura earthquakes. It's a really tough time for families. We want to work as quickly as we can to get them the sort of resolution that they deserve.
Do you accept that it's been too slow for some people? Some people really still don't know what category that has.
Well, the categorisation decisions, of course, are made by local authorities. If people are concerned about the processes that those local authorities have been following, then they do have avenues that they can pursue, including they can go through the existing ombudsman.
Yes, but local authorities could make central government decided on the process of the general scheme in which it was going to be done. So generally, would you accept that the process from the point of the floods and the cyclone has been held a little bit slow?
I think overall responding to natural disasters like this does take time, and I acknowledge that for those who are waiting for the certainty that they deserve, that can be really frustrating.
So we don't need a new ombudsman for this?
Well, the current ombudsman already has jurisdiction to look over these processes now, so I'm not sure what an additional bureaucracy would add to that.
Did you know that the CTU is going to run the attack ads across newspapers and billboards today?
The CTU have run election campaign advertisements in every election campaign that I have been involved with, as have a range of other groups, and I certainly was aware that they would be doing that in this election. I did not see the advertisement until I think it came out last week, somewhat early, but I had not seen the advertisement.
Did you know that they were going to do it today?
No, I didn't.
Do you think it was nasty?
Was that?
Do you endorse it?
I think the CTU are raising some legitimate concerns around the effects of the National Party's policies. But I also may as well take the opportunity to speak to this as well. The National Party and their surrogates, including the Taxpayers Union, Groundswell, Hobson's Pledge and so on, have been running attack ads against me and against the government, the Labor government, since the day I took on the job. I haven't called a press conference or issued a media statement every time that they have done that. I happen to have with me, for example, just a random selection of examples. I particularly enjoyed this one where my photograph has been photoshopped onto a packet of Band-Aids. That was a National Party advertisement, that one. There's an attack advertisement here about myself and Jacinda. That, I believe, was a National Party MP produced that one. I thought this was a very flattering photo of Grant Robertson doing some vacuuming. This one was from the Taxpayers Union, a National Party front group. We have a pretty nasty, despicable personal attack on Nanaia Mahuta. That was, I believe, the Taxpayers Union did that one. This one here, I was particularly touched by this one, actually. This is myself and David Parker on some what would appear to be Russian horses. I actually think I look quite good on a horse, to be frank. This one was from some time ago. They've established what would appear to be another front group in order to do these advertisements, although it appears to link back to the Taxpayers Union, who of course link back to the National Party. I haven't called a media statement. I've issued a media statement or called a press conference every time they have done that. If the Christopher Luxon and the National Party are going to do that every time someone critiques or criticises what they're doing, I think they probably need to rethink whether or not they're cut out to be in government. I think it's incredibly thin-skinned, but let's be clear about what this is. They're desperately trying to distract attention away from the fact that they've been caught out with their numbers and their policies just not stacking up. They're trying to create a diversion here.
Well, they're saying that Luxon's thin-skinned. You've clearly kept these to produce at a later date. So
I've got someone to print them for me this morning.
What
was that?
The Labour movement obviously plays a role in choosing the leader and things like that. Is that quite a fair comparison to the taxpayers' movement?
The CTU have no role in selecting the Labour
The Labour
leader.
movement.
Well, I mean, look, I think You know, the Labor Party is also a representative of workers, and we've got a very proud heritage there, and we're very proud of that. The CTU campaign independently, though.
Chris Bishop was there this morning and he said that you guys are running a nasty campaign. Are you running a nasty campaign?
Absolutely not. You know, the National Party, as I said, have been attacking me personally and the Labor Party on a relatively, you know, quite personally, since I took on this job. I think they're being a bit thin-skinned, to be honest.
They say that Labor's running its most negative campaign in its history. Is that true?
Oh, that's absolute nonsense.
When did Labor run a negative campaign?
I don't believe that we are running a negative campaign. We're out there campaigning positively on the things that we're putting before the electorate, but we are also critiquing the promises that the National Party are making because they simply don't stack up. And if they want to be the government, they're going to be subject to this sort of scrutiny day in and day out. We have been for the last 6 years.
Can I ask you about
Jessica.
the foreign buys tax? Was it the legislation that you guys have put, that the government has put through, that did find a workaround in this area?
So the issue there was an issue around timing, in the sense that we had to have that in place before some of our trade agreements, particularly the CPTPP, because had this been introduced after the CPTPP, we would not be able to. So if the National Party remove the foreign buyer ban, there will be no way for a future New Zealand government to reimpose one. It will be gone for all time.
But you guys, the Labor government, figured a workaround, didn't you?
We did it before the CPTPP was signed and came into effect.
So, but that's not an option that's available to National now?
No, because the CPTPP is in effect, as are all of the other trade agreements mentioned.
Are senior doctors and dentists selfish for striking over tens of thousands of dollars during cost of living crisis?
We have made an improved offer, or the government, I should say, has made an improved offer to them, which they've rejected. I understand they're starting mediation later on this week, and I hope a resolution can be found.
So what do you make of them looking for inflation pay rises all the time? Severe crunch for so many things.
Look, I acknowledge everybody wants a pay rise at the moment, and the government is under a huge amount of financial pressure. I think everybody will understand that. But we think that bargaining, good faith bargaining is the way to move forward.
Have you been made aware of the impact of this strike?
I know that the health system has contingencies in place for situations such as this. But obviously we would prefer that we got back around the bargaining table through mediated bargaining, which is, I understand, starting on Wednesday rather than having industrial action.
So how appreciate how much disruption we caused?
Certainly no disruption to the health system is ever ideal. I think we would all prefer to avoid that.
How comfortable are you with the costings around your free dental plan?
I'm very comfortable with that and very happy to release them.
The New Zealand Dental Association came this morning and said you've kind of undercooked it by half, so it may actually cost many hundreds of $millions more than you're actually anticipating.
Dr. Verrill's going to have a further conversation with them just to understand their concerns. I do understand that they may have been assuming that our costing was based on providing the same level of subsidy for the 20 to 30-year-olds as we provide to the under-20s at the moment. We're not. We're actually proposing a higher level of subsidy. So for those older age cohorts, for example, we're proposing that the level of subsidy would be 75% higher. So we're going to work through that with them, but we'll also happy to provide the costings publicly as well.
And the $10 million for training new dentists, is that enough?
We will also have to do recruitment as well. So to fill some of the immediate need, we'll also be recruiting from within New Zealand and internationally to help to fill some of those vacancies as well.
And just back on this interview, National says Labour's gone from a be kind approach under Jacinda to a be nasty approach since you took over as leader. What do you make of that?
I think that's absolutely nonsense. And frankly, it's a bit rich from the National Party, given their level of attack at advertising almost every day of the year this year since I took on this job. I think they're being very thin-skinned. I don't think that, critiquing the potential effects of the National Party's policy is something that they should shy away from. That is democracy in action. I certainly think that, they should consider their own actions if they're going to be this thin-skinned about any critique of their own policies.
Do you have any concerns about the fact that it was on the front page of the morning newspaper during the campaign time?
That's not a matter that I have any control over.
Do we spend too much time on election campaigns arguing a toss on policy costings rather than actually debating the policies themselves?
Certainly I'm happy to debate the merits of any of the policies. I think that free dental care for the under-30s is a significant advance forward in terms of New Zealand's public health system. I think that reopening the market to overseas investors in terms of housing would be a massive step backwards that will inflate New Zealand house prices.
wouldn't it be better if all parties were transparent about their costings, released all their papers, all their peer reviews and all their spreadsheets?
Well, we do release information on our costings. We believe our costings are robust, and we're certainly happy to stack them up.
All your spreadsheets and all your peer reviews from economic consultants, and as you might be aware, there's a chapter around Castelli's peer review of the housing interest stability analysis for national and so on. Shouldn't we just get all those papers and documents and spreadsheets out there?
Well, because most of the costings for the policies that we are putting before the electorate, because they are based on current government policy, are absolutely transparent and available. They've all been released through various budget processes and so on. So I think the National Party should be more transparent with their costing information.
Is there any money left in the kitty?
Yeah.
Is there any money left in the kitty if your dentist thing doesn't actually stack up? Is there any money left in the kitty so you can plug that cavity?
We do have within our fiscal plan, as we have within the budget, a new spending allowance. There will always be a little bit of unders and overs in that, but we're absolutely confident that the overall commitments that we are making, in this election campaign are affordable and can be delivered within the new spending allowance that we've allocated.
For additional savings, you said, ongoing program looking for savings on top of what's been announced. So what potential services or are you going to delay or cut to meet these additional savings?
So we do this every year, and most governments do this every year. You look at right the way across the budget, and you look at spending priorities and spending decisions in light of the fact that needs change over time, and that's a regular ongoing process. Okay, thanks everybody. Cheers.
Yes, you heard from doctors and administrators at the clinic about the pressure that they're under, workforce pressure, complex people presenting complex needs. What are your takeaways from that?
I think it shows that the health reforms are a work in progress. I think getting Te Whatu Ora established, getting the Māori Health Authority established, these are steps in the right direction. I still think there's huge opportunity for us in the health system to place a greater emphasis on primary care. And you saw that in the decisions we took around dental. So it is a good example of where earlier intervention can actually reduce the need for people to need more complex health care further down the track. I think that all governments should be looking at how we can continue to build out our primary healthcare system. And so these are conversations that are not new to me. They're conversations I've had with almost every primary healthcare provider in recent years. And I think we can continue to work together on that.
Just campaigning in Northland, are you nervous about holding it?
Absolutely not. Thanks, everyone.